If she can find someone to put it away. Big 3 points on the line for two teams that need it tonight. 0-3 start for the Tigers so far in conference play. 1-2-1 for the Panthers. Let's love the game from Pittsburgh tonight. The Panthers in white on their home field. Clemson Tigers wearing their road purple away from home. Really a beautiful evening here, perfect for soccer. Mid-70s, still some sun and some shadows working across the field. Deborah Abiodun, the Nigerian international, competed at the Olympics this summer along with Randy Waldrum, who pulls double duty as head coach for both Pitt and the Nigerian national team. His son Ben acting as head coach in his place tonight, as Randy has been dealing with his wife, who's over across the street in the hospital. We send her our best wishes, and I think Randy actually is here tonight, trying to see his team, and Samaya Fury make something happen here. Good defending in the back.
Well, really good defending so far from the Clemson Tigers. They knew they were going to have to be disciplined coming into this game, and just to be mindful of Fury, because that's a player, their center forward for Pitt, that likes the ball to her feet, plays back to goal, but they do want to look to see if she can take a few more risks trying to get in behind.
Shapansky manages to get the ball across. A high floater up in the air for Wells, who winds up laid out on the ground. Goal kick coming for the Tigers. Wells, a sophomore from the Pittsburgh area. Didn't start any games last year for the Panthers in that incredible record-setting season. They set program records for wins, goals, assists. And incredible to think, too, that this Pitt Panther program had never been to the NCAA tournament. Now they've been the last 2 years, and they've picked up wins in each of those NCAA appearances, going all the way to the quarterfinals last year, eventually losing to the eventual national champion Florida State Seminoles.
Well, and this game is going to be interesting, particularly in the midfield in terms of that battle and who can gain control of the ball, because both teams like to keep possession. And as we mentioned, they're in need of a result. So we know how there's so fine margins. There are fine margins in this conference, and every game matters. Every game feels like a battle. So who can get control, particularly in the midfield, really set the tone early on.
Lane St. George will ready, as you see Randy Waldrum sitting next to his son Ben there, both of them battling the sun here tonight. Yeah, they've got it the worst on their side of the field at the moment. Panthers high scoring in the non-conference portion of their schedule, really racked up some big score lines in a couple of matches, but have been held at bay in their last few. Coming off a big draw, though, at number 6 Stanford, 1-1. Fury with the ball at her feet leads this Panther team with 7 goals on the season. Samaya Fury.
You know, we weren't sure if Abiodun was going to get the start or not, just, you know, managing the minutes that she's played throughout this season. You mentioned her playing in the Olympics and then coming straight into the college season, but such an important player for this Pitt team in terms of two-way midfielder. She'll get up, but she'll also sit back next to Minas in the midfield just to screen the back four. But her involvement in the attack to play off Shapansky on that left-hand side really is going to be key, and it just talks about the midfield battle and who wins that. So Abiodun, keep an eye on her.
And Clemson building into the midfield here through their right back. Cam Pickett, grad transfer out of Pepperdine. She drew the foul. Nicole Green, our referee in the center for this match tonight. And the only goal that the Panthers conceded in that match against Stanford, new ACC member this year, came off a corner kick. So set pieces also could be an area the Tigers try to take advantage of, although the loss of Bornkamp, Lori, will hurt them. She has typically been such a wonderful target on set pieces.
Well, and that was going to be just my next thought, is because we've seen these first few set pieces from the Clemson Tigers. They've gone long, and it's been easy wins for Pitt Panthers. So do they mix things up, knowing that they don't have the presence of Bornkamp and her height and her ability to win balls in the air? Because right now, even just on that last set piece, it was an easy win, and then the second ball lands right to Abiodun, and they're able to build out. We'll see how the Tigers adjust going forward. I mean, they may not have that aerial presence that they typically do.
See another long ball. Emily Bruff picks it up. Junior from Liverpool, England, making her 8th start of the season in the middle, number 5 for Clemson. Castenfeld on this near side. Tobia running for it now. Short on the far side, cutting in. And the ball winds up trickling out of play, though it is for a corner. So here's an opportunity for the Tigers. First corner of the match for either team.
Yeah, and Zalesky does a good job because she keeps her feet until the last second, knowing that she can win it. But this is what Tobia will bring. Moved into the number 9 position. Bornkamp, the one that's injured, that we mentioned, not in the lineup, not even traveling with the team today. But Tobia does have the ability to get in behind, stretch the game as much as possible, and earns the corner kick.
Service in. Won and cleared by Pitt, but it'll go back to Sydney Manerick for the Tigers. Ball bounces to Ellie Breach, junior goalkeeper for the Panthers, who is sitting at 22 career wins. That is tied for the most in program history. Had 7 saves in the 1-0 loss at Clemson last year. Tigers, as I mentioned earlier, unbeaten all time in the series against the Panthers, 8-0-1. Talking to Eddie Radwanski, Clemson head coach, before the game, he feels pretty confident about his team when they are in possession, that they can do a good job of staying together. Can they create out of it? Maybe their biggest challenge, and it does seem, Lori, like they're playing these lower percentage balls a little more often than they typically do.
I think if you look at the front runners, though, you have Short, Tobia that we mentioned that slotted into the central area up top, and then Castenfeld. They're looking to get in behind, and that's what's going to stretch this game. Then it just is a matter of the midfielders, whether it's Bruff, Hooser, or Brathwaite, filling in the gaps underneath. If it is an under-hit ball, can they pick up the second one? But they're doing a good job right now of pinning Pitt in defensively into their own half and really not allowing them to create anything into the attack.
Battle in the midfield, winds up at the feet of Abiodun. Leading ball, though, a little too far out in front. Pitt, as I said, coming off such an incredibly impressive season as they have just continued to grow. This is the 7th season for Randy Waldrum in charge, and look at some of the numbers from last year. 17 wins, 64 goals. And while we talk a lot about what Szczepanski's doing now, she had a pretty darn good season last year, too. 11 goals, 14 assists, first team all ACC selection. Just lost some of those other weapons that she had around her in the form of Amanda West, Landy Mertz, both drafted into the NWSL. First Pitt Panthers ever drafted into the NWSL. If you were watching ACC PM earlier, that was our Thursday trivia question.
Your new trivia.
Yeah, you're going to help me come up with those.
Okay,
Lori.
I definitely will.
Tobia, sophomore, trying to go against the Pitt defense and earn another corner, which she does.
Well, she's done a good job because she's not afraid to take on 1v1. She's confident in her movements, decisive with her ability to try to get in behind. And now it's about capitalizing, because both of these coaches coming into this game had talked about scoring, executing more, creating chances, but can they just have a little bit more patience in that final third?
Ball at the back post. Target was certainly well covered there. Mackenzie Duff getting up from her spot in the back line, 5'11" senior for the Tigers. Clemson making it all the way to the College Cup for the first time ever last season. I mean, they had such a tremendous year. First time ever doing that. Played for an ACC championship, wound up losing to Florida State there. And As we have said, it's tough sometimes to reload when you lose a lot of players, as they did, to the professional ranks, and then you hit with some injuries. Fury puts it across, has to be saved, another shot and a goal! Pitt sticks with it, puts it in the back of the net, and takes the early lead on their home field. Kira Mellenhorst, the senior, coming through to finish it off.
Well, the one thing that we said coming into this game for the Clemson Tigers is discipline defensively, because they are comfortable in possession, but they do get expansive. And this starts with just a quick break for Pitt Panthers. Fury at the heart of it, driving, gets the shot off, and that forces Reason to have to cough up the save right there, and then you're just last-ditch defending. But the follow-up from Mellenhorst is excellent. Just puts herself in the right place at the right time, doesn't get in too early. All she has to do is slot it home for the first goal of the night.
And for a Pitt Panther team that has struggled to finish off their chances the last few matches, Lori, that's got to be an encouraging start.
Well, especially because outside of the first couple of minutes when we saw Fury gun on the ball, Szczepanski as well, it's been all possession, set pieces, corner kicks earned by the Clemson Tigers, and then one big moment where they are in expansive shape. You get off in a quick transition moment. Fury doing a good job of being an outlet to break out quickly. Now all of a sudden this team for the Pitt Panthers is starting to move the ball more quickly, more confidently. Really hadn't had clear chances though prior to that opportunity, so take it on your first one at home is massive in the early moments of this game.
For Mellenhorst, her 5th goal of the season, and scores in back-to-back games, as she also had the equalizer in that match that Pitt played last at number 6 Stanford. Watch number 30 for Clemson. Transfer from Georgia, Christian Brathwaite. Really strong on the ball, picks her moments to get forward. This is Kassenfeld trying to drive it through.
With that final pass right now for the Clemson Tigers, they have good movement. One's coming deep, they get the overlapping run, it provides them space. It's just that final pass, either rush, too heavy, easily picked off right now for Pitt defensively. Maybe one extra pass, just connect, establish a little bit better positioning in the attack.
No reason able to take care of that ball easily. Panthers back on it. Mellenhorst, the goal scorer. Got it from Szczepanski, who now finds herself central. Fury, 2-3 Clemson defenders around her. Looks to draw the foul and does.
Yeah, really clever on the ball, Fury. And for her size, her height, smooth on the ball, keeps her feet really well, and is always an outlet. But the movement up top so far for Pitt when they are in possession, you get Mellenhorst making runs out of the midfield. That allows Szczepanski to drop in. And then Fury has a little bit of the room to float as well, to be an option. It's making it difficult right now for the Clemson Tigers to defend, pick up players, be on the same page.
You have to like the option of having the player who sits number 1 in the country in assists, sending this ball in, and Szczepanski 13 assists on the season. Going to take advantage of this first foul by the Tigers in the match. It will be Szczepanski. Bounces off a couple players, and Reason hands up, says she didn't touch it. That's the way the referee saw it too, so Clemson goal kick. Nona Reason, a sophomore transfer from the University of North Carolina, spent 2 seasons with the Tar Heels, although no appearances in 2022. Only appeared in 3 matches last year, started a couple, obviously playing a very important role for the Tigers this season. Callie Makowitz, ACC goalkeeper of the year a year ago, one of those 7 starters gone from last year's College Cup team for the Tigers.
Well, and since that goal, there's been good pressure from the Pitt Panthers. Need to continue. A nice little move from Fury.
Oh, she is feeling it now, gaining some confidence from that. putting it through the wickets.
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Fury. Just so smooth on the ball, clever with her decisions. Just a little nutmeg, then takes 3 players on, and exactly what Randy Waldrum, Ben Waldrum, his son, looking for her to do in that center forward position. Take players on, be confident. They know she can play back to goal, but can she be a bit more direct with her play as well? Add a little bit more of a dimension.
I feel like somebody needs to send those guys some sunglasses over there for the remainder of this first half anyway. I think they did hand out scarves tonight, potentially. Saw some fans holding those up. Those look nice.
For the cold weather or the sun?
Hey, just for a little love for the Panthers. You still laughing at my jokes?
Trying not to.
Ashley Moon, you can see she's got that left leg sleeve, number 13 for Pitt. See her senior back out there starting matches at an ACL injury a couple of years ago. Mary Caulfield found Minas, and now Mellenhorst. Pitt working it through. And just about everybody a touch. Olivia Lee back central, nice little layoff, Fury.
Just can't keep a hold of that, but this is the pressure that I was trying to mention a second ago before we saw Fury start doing some nutmeg and some nice moves. Is they have to continue to apply pressure, see if they can create even more chances. You're at home, you're on turf. It's not easy to play here. Clemson Tigers know that, and missing 2 of their starting players, so continue to punish them. Had a lot of confidence since taking the lead.
Chloe Minas, number 15 there in white for Pitt. Another one of those players back from injury. Missed all of that season 2 years ago in 2022. Part of last year's historic season. Shapansky just as confident as ever when she is on the ball. Minas has some options. Clemson really having to react to everything Pitt is doing now. Oh, Abby Oden might be feeling that one for a bit. Just took the hit from close range to her head, it looked like.
Ooh, yeah, it's a tough one, just close range, and Abby Oden just trying to close down the pressure of Brathwaite. If she's trying to clear the ball, alleviate some of that pressure. Catches Abby Oden right in the face.
Sophomore out of Oyo, Nigeria. Part of the World Cup team in 2023. And also, as we mentioned, the Olympics this summer for Nigeria. They had a pretty good run, too, didn't they? And, oh, yeah, I think you had a couple of their matches, right?
Yeah, in
Nigeria?
the World Cup, yep, absolutely, as well.
And Abby Oden, just young player, really kind of getting started, making an impact here. Caulfield comes from my favorite high school mascot ever, from Mars, Pennsylvania, Ellie Caulfield, one of the Fightin' Planets. Told you I was going to get the Fightin' Planets in, Lori.
I never doubted you.
Abby Oden appears to be fine. She's back and off and running, takes her shot, scores the goal! First of the season for Abby Oden.
Well, it's the exact pressure that I was talking about, continuing to push, continue to look for that second goal to really punish Clemson. But we've seen this a few times, whether it's Mellenhorst, this time it's Abby Oden, making runs out of the midfield. But right here, watch that little hesitation from Abby Oden just to collect herself, doesn't rush the shot, gets her feet set, and then at the last second makes really good contact, sees where Reason is, places it into that far corner. What a finish that is, what a run that is from Abiodun, and yep, deserves a little sleep herself.
Oh, night-night.
Yes, exactly.
I saw Trinity
Excellent
Rodman
goal.
pulling that go-to-sleep celebration in the NWSL not long ago. And this looks and feels a little more like the Pitt offense that opened the ACC season with a 3-1 win against Louisville. Since that time, they have taken on number 8 North Carolina, Tar Heels number 8 at the time. They've ascended in the standings now into the top 5. Lost that game 1-0, and then went on the road, lost 1-0 at Cal, and had the 1-1 draw at Stanford.
Into the match for the Tigers, number 2, Kendall Bodak, replacing number 16.
One change for
Ella
Clemson
Hooser.
after that goal. Kendall Bodak coming in to replace Ella Hooser in the midfield. Bodak, a freshman, started 9 matches this season for the Tigers. Typically plays a little more of an attacking midfield role, but has slid into that double pivot, holding midfield spot at the moment next to Brathwaite.
Well, a mountain to climb right now for the Clemson Tigers, but it is all about just reestablishing a bit of possession. We saw that early on before conceding the opening goal. But this is something that we knew the Pitt Panthers were going to be looking for. If they could catch this Clemson Tigers in transition, it's a tough challenge on that far side. Fury's the one that's down. But if they could catch Clemson Tigers quickly in transition, they knew that they were going to be in expansive shape. We saw him do that in terms of the very first goal, then the run from Abiodun in the second. But for the Clemson Tiger, it is just about reestablishing some possession. Here's the collision.
Ooh, back of the head.
Yeah, just going up. Unfortunate, because you get the 2. You want this aggressive approach from the Clemson Tigers. Try to establish some sort of competitiveness to get yourself back in this game, but it's a tough one for Fury.
She stays down at the moment. Senior in her 3rd year with the Panthers, started her career at Oklahoma State. Good to see her back up now. Obviously, they're going to check her out, make sure she is okay to continue on. 3rd team All-ACC selection last season, 11 goals, 4 assists for the Panthers. Already has 7 in this her senior year. Change coming in looks to be Ava Boyd, sophomore transfer from Michigan State.
Into the match for the
She
Panthers,
will
number 26,
take the
Ava
place of
Boyd,
Fury at
replacing
least.
number 23, Samaya
Remainder of the
Fury.
half. You're allowed a re-entry in college soccer in the second half, but that was a head injury, so there are special considerations for that. We'll see how Fury fares. Abiodun. Mellenhorst. Panthers playing with a 2-goal lead here in the first half on their home field. Hosting the Clemson Tigers tonight. I think they are happy to be back home after that cross-country trip, Lori.
Yeah, and they even spoke about just being this week all about rest, recovery, getting themselves ready for this game, because going there is one thing, but then when you come back, typically on a red eye, lose a day of sleep, have to regain just in terms of your legs and the recovery aspect of it. Haven't had much time to train this week, but good start to this game, especially playing back at home.
Castenfeld. Reason. Katie Zalesky stepping up to win the ball in the air for Pitt. And the offside flag comes up.
Well, and just looking at the setup right now, and I go back to the point I was making about the Clemson Tigers just establishing a bit more possession, because right now Pitt is doing a good job with the confidence they have being up 2 goals, able to play and be a bit more direct, where now we need to see Clemson Tigers just keep possession, slow the tempo down, play the game that they want to play. Pitt Panthers right now winning everything, first, second balls, and dominating the midfield.
And with a young team like this Clemson team is, this is going to be a stretch that can really challenge them and test them, losing some key players, struggling through moments after a really successful season. But Eddie Radwanski really upbeat, despite the fact, by the way, that he and his entire staff are all still without power.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was some damage from Hurricane Helene around the Clemson area. He said they were all fine. All the classes are back in session at Clemson, but there are certainly still some residual effects of that. And good to see Fury coming back on. As I said, if it's a head injury, you are allowed the re-entry, so she comes back into the match. But you got to take advantage of this opportunity and know there are going to be some struggles along the way if you're Clemson. But can you grow from it? That's the challenge. Well, Pitt knew, and Szczepanski exactly where they wanted to go. She just underhit it a little bit, put it in the path of the Tigers to intercept. Emily Bruff asking for options. Kastenfeld has difficulty getting around Moon in the corner. Well done by the veteran defender.
Well, they're getting themselves in really good positions. It comes to Tigers. Once they bypass that first line of pressure, then you get Bruff in between the lines, as we're going to see Fury try to take off and start an attack for the Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, Fury has just been a handful. It's taken a couple of Tigers to slow her down pretty much every time she's had the ball.
Well, Manerick knows that she just needs to slow down the play. She's been beaten by Fury. Because look, once she gets faced up, she has one thing on her mind: go direct. There's the pull down from Manerick. But just to finish that previous point, they're putting themselves in good positions, the Clemson Tigers, but then you have Kastenfeld that just stays wide instead of making a direct run to try to get in behind or make the run, then cut back, get the ball to her feet. Just makes it so easy and predictable to defend. Have to diversify some of their runs once they do break that first line of pressure.
Szczepanski gifted with both feet. Easy in the end there for a reason. Clemson coming into this one 0-3 in conference play, and in fact, for Pitt, this is quite the opportunity in their schedule to pick up some points, take advantage. Nothing is ever easy in the ACC, but including tonight, their next three opponents are combined 0-11 in conference play. They've got Syracuse and then at Miami. So the Panthers needing to pick up points. With some of the big dogs coming after that. At Florida State, Wake Forest has proven they can play with the best in the country already this season. Those two, I believe, playing tonight. Indeed, they are. Florida State is at Wake Forest. That'll be an interesting test for the Demon Deacons, who already did something no other team in the country has done, taken down the #2 team and then the #1 team in the country in back-to-back weeks. And then the Panthers finish up at Notre Dame. Feels for the most part, Lori, this Pitt team, you were looking at the midfield early on. They just seem so connected and in control.
That's exactly the word I'd use, is in control. They're winning the first, second balls, putting themselves in good positions. Minas, with her positioning, she's always going to be the one that stays. That allows for Abiodun and even Mellenhorst to take more risks. But then this moment's right here. As soon as the ball's turned over, they lose possession. Immediately, they're swarming. They get two players around the ball carrier, the Clemson Tigers, and then they win possession back. It's been excellent defensively and really have shifted the momentum. Yes, they've scored 2 goals. We know that goals change the complexity of games, but held their ground defensively those first 10 minutes or so when Clemson had a majority of the possession. Haven't looked back since.
Fury did not stay onside. Knew she was close to toeing that line and in fact did get over it. I mean, she just got a great name for a striker, too. Samaya Fury. And she's backed it up with some pretty impressive numbers, as we talked about last year, and once again this season. 7 goals. Perhaps an opportunity to add to that total, as Mellenhorst and Abiodun have already scored for the Panthers to give them this 2-0 lead thus far. Mellenhorst so positive in her movements. You can just see her flying forward before she gets the ball even. Continues that momentum. Now working with Szczepanski in the corner. Fury stretched out for it, but lost it. And one right back by Lee. Panthers with numbers. Tigers defending in numbers, but a lot of bodies in a really close space makes it tough to clear sometimes too. That's Kendall Bodak, the freshman. Came on for the Tigers for Hoosier earlier in this half. Abiodun scoring her first goal of the season right at the stroke of the 17th minute. Ellie Caulfield providing the assist, her 4th of the season for the Panthers. Here comes Fury again, going out wide for Szczepanski. Szczepanski setting it up. Header, no. Pitt's all-time assist leader put it up in the air, but Wells couldn't put it away.
Well, I think Wells tries to put a little too much on this, because that's a perfectly placed ball in behind. Weighted, just lifted. One of the reasons why she does lead the assist, or the nation in assists, Szczepanski, that little ball right there, beautiful into the path of Wells. Just tries to get too much on it instead of knocking it back down to that far post.
I mentioned that the hospital is just across the street here from the Peterson Sports Complex, and that was a helicopter you most likely heard just flying over us here at Urbanic Ambrose Field. Ambrose Urbanic Field. I was gonna mess that one up. Fury, quick reaction from Reason.
Now just look at the position that Fury establishes right here behind the defender, and immediately cuts in front and gets something on it. There's the ball for Szczepanski, but right at the last second just cuts in front, gets enough on it, forces a save from Reason. Good work, and we've seen a lot of the versatility of Fury throughout this first half already, taking players on, dropping deep, back to goal, but also just her ability at the last second to change her pace, get in front of the defender, and get an attempt on goal.
Reason 18 saves the last 2 matches, 10 against Duke, 8 against Florida State. These numbers are impressive, but of course you won't want them really being that high if you're a goalkeeper. In fact, right now, Reason 3rd in the ACC in saves. But on the other end, we've been talking about Ellie Caulfield and how much I love her high school. Well, she's also gone on to do some pretty great things since she's been here at Pitt. This is her senior year. Just a week or so ago, winning the 2024 Spirit of Pitt Award. And they give that to someone who embodies Pitt pride, serves the community, and demonstrates leadership. She was honored at a football game just before the team left for their trip out to California. Just up and down her bio too, by the way. It just reads about what a great teammate she is. She's been a Heart of a Panther Award winner a couple of times. Really just had an incredible impact in her time here at Pitt. Clemson made a couple of changes. Erin Sheridan, Maria Manusas coming in for the Tigers, replacing Tatum Short and Lane St. George. And the Panthers attacking now. Going all the way is Moon. Gagne in there, number 3, who just came into the match, potentially as a target. She replaced Wells. I think a couple of years ago, Lori, the numbers were so impressive from Amanda West, and you started to turn your head at what this Pitt team was doing. And Szczepanski got in the mix. And last year, there were obviously a lot of different goal scorers as this Pitt team set the program record for goals scored in a season, but they come at you with a lot of different weapons. I mean, you look at Moon carrying the ball up on this side, causing problems. Szczepanski just everywhere on the other side, and Fury, what a handful she's been.
Yeah, they have a versatility of the way that they can attack. 1v1 players, they can go in combination. We've talked about the front runners, and including Mellenhorst in that as well. Just the combination, Abby Oden as well coming out of the midfield.
First corner for the Panthers, headed back in front of the goal by Caulfield. Follow-up shot.
I will say this though, Jen, and Minas has been excellent in this game, and really one of those players that, because of the excellence of the front line, their attacking players, the flair that they have, Minas would go unnoticed a lot, but her positioning, so important just on that last attempt. Maybe he's a little bit overly aggressive in trying to strike from that distance, but she's the first to the ball, always an outlet in their build out. And once again, she's the one that just is a stalwart in the midfield in terms of her positioning, and that allows the front group to be able to tick and go with numbers.
Minas also a player with some international experience. Talk about Abby Oden with the senior national team for Nigeria. Minas has appeared with the Canadian U20 national team. She's from Montreal, Quebec. And actually was, I think this would be such a cool thing to do as a young player, flag bearer at the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup, Chloe Minas. See the change there. Ali Serlinga coming on to replace Castenfeld for Clemson. And Ava Boyd back on for good this time for the rest of the half. She replaces Abby Oden. She was the player who came on just for a brief spell there when Samaya Fury went off. Had to be checked for the head injury. Ben Waldrum telling us he wasn't sure what they were going to be able to get out of Deb Abby Oden. Came off a season high minutes played in her last match at Stanford, 84 minutes, and as you said, Lori, she was out 6 matches, just trying to get healthy again after that run over the summer at the Olympics. Not much of a break.
Well, she's such an important piece. It's just a matter of them managing her minutes, her workload, and the early lead helps them be able to take her off the field, because she is so important to the way that they want to play, because she can help in the build out, she can keep possession, but as we've seen a few different times in this game, getting forward, making runs. First goal of the season.
Fury. Bruff right on the back of Fury, takes it away cleanly, says the referee. Tries to start something for the Tigers in the attack. It continues on into the area. That's a good layoff, a chance for a shot. Bruff has it blocked. Follow-up, Tobia was raring up to let one go. Pickett keeps it in play. Good spell of possession here for Clemson in their attacking third. They opt to go back now, reset things a little bit. A lot of changes in the attack. Kendall Bodak, Ali Serlinga, Erin Sheridan all on for the Tigers off the bench. And Bodak could not quite keep it in there.
Well, this is the best attack for the Clemson Tigers so far in this first half. And you get the run out of the midfield, a cut back ball, and you see how dangerous it can be when you have runs out of the midfield, more dynamic runs in the attack. We spoke about that earlier. It's difficult to pin down players, and if you're not on the same page defensively, that's what will happen. Get caught in each other's way.
There's Minas again, patrolling but not controlling as Bruff and Clemson have it for a moment. Some space to be had there. Fury steps into it. Caulfield pops it forward. Ava Boyd, first year with the Panthers, goal and an assist on the season. Sophomore, started her career at Michigan State, but is from Pittsburgh originally. Fury. Can Clemson keep Pitt bottled up in that corner? They do at the moment. And now can the Tigers get out of the area? Pickett will take the direct route. Shapansky always looking toward goal.
I love the positioning of Shapansky, just floating in between the lines, and that's been a bit of the issue for the Clemson Tigers is when they are dropping back, they're not doing it collectively. It's leaving the midfield exposed, too much ground for them to cover. Either drop all the way back or get pressure on the ball carrier, caught between two, and it's leaving Shapansky wide open. Easy entry ball into her. She can get faced up and try to catch Reeson off her line.
Pitt out shooting Clemson 8-1 in this first half so far. This is an attack that ranks top 5 in the country in assists per game, shots per game, and shots on goal per game. Gagne wins it back for the Panthers. Another new player for Pitt this year, transferring in from Kansas. Hat trick earlier in the year. Fury. Corner earned for Pitt. Samaya Fury really putting in the work in this first half. Her team leading it 2-0. And Shapansky ready from the corner. She really has a way of putting a lot of air under the ball. Let's see if she does that here. A little more driven this time. Header, you gotta like the setup though.
Well, what a great looking ball that is from Shapansky. Boyd's the one that gets on the head of it. Just has whip, pace, and not too much air on it. You can see lands on the kicking foot. And then Boyd rising above, just trying to flick it on. And my goodness, that doesn't miss by much. This floats just past of that far post. You know, one of the things, Jen, that Ben Waldron, when we spoke with him yesterday before this game, he knew that the Clemson Tigers were going to come in here, fight, do whatever it takes, and they will have the ability just to regroup at halftime. So looking to see if they can get the third goal, decisive goal, to really start to put this game out of reach will be important for the Pitt Panthers. Last few minutes of this first half or early in the second.
Shapansky getting fancy.
I don't want to hear that again.
Did you like the little dance I did with the two?
Oh,
Just
I saw the
have that
side
visual.
eye you gave me afterwards.
Just over 5 minutes to play in the first half. Clemson has not had too many opportunities. Just one shot in the match, came around the 11-minute mark. Now they have to defend again, but it's put up and over instead.
Replacing number 5, Emily Bruff, and number 8, Jenna Tobia.
Tigers made a couple more changes. Ella Johnson and Eleanor Hayes coming in, replacing Bruff and Tobia. Ferry still working hard, putting that back line of the Tigers under pressure. Pretty much everything going the way of the Panthers so far in this one. In case you missed it earlier, it is a Clemson Tiger team that had very little room for error after losing so many players. 7 starters gone from their College Cup team of a year ago. And Eddie Radwanski telling us, look, I felt really good still about who we had coming back, but we couldn't afford to take many injuries, and that is exactly what has happened. The 2 most recent ones are big ones. Megan Bornkamp, their multi-time All-American, and Danny Davis, one of the top freshmen in the conference a year ago, both getting hurt in the last game at Florida State, and not sure they'll be back this season.
Well, it's not just that you miss players in terms of their presence on the field, what they bring in leadership, experience. It's also that you have to start shifting players around as well. Tobia is one of those players that played in the winger position out wide. Now she's having to play as the number 9. So it just forces you to start to move, having to be a little bit more strategic.
Fury.
And that's better defending. And that has to be a talking point for Eddie Radwanski's team, is just establishing a little bit more of a defensive presence, getting to stretch, chasing, and not taking anything away from the Pitt Panthers because they have that versatility up top. They can threaten you in behind, they can play to feet, go in combination, so it does make it difficult. You take one away, then they can bring the other, but just staying a bit more compact between the lines, not forcing the midfield to have to run so much, has to be a starting point in the second half for the Clemson Tigers, just to establish the presence back in this game, because they've been chasing since early on in this game when they conceded that first goal.
Well, here's our next ACC Network women's volleyball match. Should be a great one. Number 4, Louisville hosting number 19, Georgia Tech. Coverage begins Sunday afternoon at 1:30 Eastern right here on ACCN. A lot of talented volleyball teams in this conference. That one a top 20 matchup. Tigers win it away. Play a little bit of keep away. And eventually try to find Hayes on the run. Manusis started every match but this one. It's Eddie Radwanski just trying to balance out all the different injuries some of his players are carrying, even those who are on the field and obviously those who are not able to play tonight. But a 2-0 deficit is what the Tigers will be facing in the second half.
10, 9, 8, 7.
And the Pitt Panthers, Lori, you would think,
5,
have to feel pretty good about how this first 45 minutes have gone.
Yeah, and they're going to want to replicate this first half in the second, especially first 15 minutes of that second half. Get a third goal, put the game out of reach. You can rest players.
All awaiting the whistle of Nicole Green. She says, let's go. And so the Panthers start off with the ball. Samaya Fury back to Chloe Minas. Ashley Moon immediately putting that Tiger back line under some pressure. Gagne getting the start in the second half for the Panthers. Shapansky, Fury. Boy, they are there for the taking. When Shapansky gets on it, you better be ready to finish him off.
Well, fantastic starts, direct play. That was one thing that we heard Ben Waldrum say, want to have more verticality to their style of play, especially in the attack. You see immediately getting players forward, Shapansky delivering that ball, and Fury always wanting to get on the end of it. Just can't get up and over it enough to keep it on frame.
And Shapansky is apt to pop up pretty much anywhere in that attacking third. She can be out wide left, she can be out wide right, she can drift through the middle. Zalesky and Caulfield, the two players in the middle of the back line for the Panthers. This somehow gets all the way through to Fury, who was ready to turn on a dime. And does earn her team an early corner kick here in the second half. Each team with 2 corners in the first half. It feels like the Panthers are having fun in this one. And they punch a few more home. Shapansky, can she add to her nation-leading 13 assists? Miss in the air, the initial try. Tobia. It's like Amelia Erickson getting the start in the second half. For Clemson, Deborah Abiodun had her first goal of the season. Nigerian international in the first half for the Panthers. Shapansky ready to line it up again. I mentioned this in the first half, Lori. She really does tend to put a lot of air under the ball, put these services up high from the corner. This one bouncing at the near post. She can vary it up. Still there for Fury. Reason doesn't get it, but maybe too much contact with the goalkeeper on the part of the Panthers.
But it's always a threat in those set pieces, and yeah, whether it's floated in or one of the last attempts that we saw in the first half where there was a pace, a bend on it. Boyd was the one that made contact and sent it just wide. This time again, forcing Clemson to have to defend, get numbers around Fury in particular, because she's one of the main targets. The delivery from Shapansky, not surprising. 13 assists so far on this season, remarkable. Excellent delivery, and has always given them a chance, even if, and we have seen it tonight, in the run of play, they've looked dangerous, but even if it isn't going their way, they always have set pieces they can look to.
And Eddie Radwanski really mixing things up from the way he started this match. Note a number of changes. A lot of players who were on to end that first half. Ali Serlenga, Amelia Erickson, Kendall Bodak, Maria Manusas, all starting this second half. Tobia playing that center striker role at the moment for the Tigers. Caulfield glancing around as she gets the ball back. Venus to Moon. Decisions now. Brathwaite, can she go? Be a spark for this Tiger team in the attack. Still has it as her feet. Gets past Venus. Unleashes a shot, but does deflect out, it looks like, for a corner.
Well done from Brathwaite, because that is something for them to build off of. She sees the space, says, why not? I'll go myself. And just straight down the heart of Pitt's defense. Earns the corner kick, and really one of the first times that we've seen Clemson Tigers in their attacking half.
And Brathwaite internationally has appeared for Trinidad and Tobago at the 23 World Cup. Spent 1 year at the University of Georgia, transferred in to join the Tigers this season. Here comes the corner, and into the gloves of Breach it goes. Important test for the Tigers on the road tonight. Lost both Danny Davis and Megan Bornkamp, 2 starters, in that last game at Florida State. And this is some good interchange for the Panthers. They get it in the box. It's let go, maybe on purpose, the chip, but not turned enough.
Well, how quickly do they attack? And it's almost like they'll lull you to sleep, and then they'll go quickly, use the momentum of the defenders. But you see the 3 defensive players for the Tigers just getting bypassed way too easily. That one's missed initially, then Fury's there to pick it up. Her shot goes wide, but you know, one of the things that we mentioned going into the second half for the Tigers is just being more disciplined on the defensive side of the game, and there it's just too easy for Mellenhorst to combine, get to the end line, pick out a player. Back line right now for the Clemson Tigers, all out of sorts. Chasing, stepping too late.
Bodak did well to keep it, got it out wide. 2 defenders come and eventually do win it, but give it right back. Brathwaite there to pick up the pieces. Manusas turning with it on the far side. Gagne back defending. Bruff takes it over for the Tigers in the middle of the field. Poke through, a chance perhaps. Clemson still looking for their first shot on goal in the match. Have not had a shot, but one in the second half.
Really good work, and much better for the Clemson Tigers. You can see that they're more confident and comfortable when they press higher up the field. Look to see if they can dispossess Pitt in their own defensive half, and Brathwaite does well and draws the foul. You hear the disagreement in the stands.
They felt like Pitt would have been ready to take advantage of a lot of space that had opened up, because you're right, Clemson does seem more comfortable when they're in that press, but is this young, more inexperienced team disciplined enough to keep a good shape behind it when they're in that press? That may be one of the things to look for here in the second half. Tobia, a member of the ACC All-Freshman team a year ago, had 8 assists, tied for the most on the team in her first year with the Tigers. 2 goals, 1 assist this season. Big group of players just outside the 18. Service in, it's a good ball, but it bounces in the area before anybody can get to it. That allows Breach to take hold. Ellie Breach, a junior, second year as a starter, started every match a year ago for Pitt, on their way to the NCAA quarterfinals. Florida State Seminoles just crushing Panther dreams last year, beating them in the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament. Moon, edge of the area, gets it to Gagne, has time, got the ball stuck under her feet. Bruff has Pitt extended and opened up some space now, and can Clemson take advantage? That's a good ball, diagonally across it goes. Tobia into the area, out for a corner.
Well, she definitely looks more confident in that wide area. Tobia, as we mentioned, moved into the center forward position with Megan Borgenkamp out, but has more room, wants to take players on, keeps the width at the right times. Been one of the focal points of the attack, and why the Tigers look a lot more lively the last 5 minutes or so.
And I noted that it seemed like the Panthers were really having fun, which is great. You want to have fun when you play, but you cannot let off at all, because any team in this league can make you pay. Clemson keeps it on the ground. Now the shot from Bodak, blocked.
Love that idea, though, because you could see the Pitt Panthers weren't ready for it. Just driven on the ground, little layback. And this is what you have to do, is just find other ways to be clever right there. And instead of trying to float that into the mix, Brathwaite gets to it, right idea, just to lay it back right into the path to be able to take it first time.
Tobia again causing problems on that far wing for Clemson. Zalski up and over. What, Lori, do you think you need to be most wary of if you're a team like Pitt in this moment, and the way this match has gone so far, 2-0 scoreline?
Well, just need to make sure that you're taking care of business, which is getting that third goal, because then you can start to take more risks. You can see, you know, it should be always about having fun, as you mentioned, and that's what Pitt looks like they're having, but that still means you have to be disciplined, take care of your individual duties, and do it collectively as well, and look to see if you can get that third goal, because as we mentioned at the end of that first half, Eddie Rawinski's teams, they're gonna fight, they're gonna do whatever they can to get themselves back in the game. Pitt knows that, so you can't take anything for granted, even this 2-0 lead, because one goal will change that, cut that lead in half, obviously, and then really start to swing the momentum in favor of the Clemson Tigers, because they've started this half really well.
Yeah, they've found a bit more momentum, more in the attack this last few minutes, especially when Toby has been able to get on the ball. And as Ben Waldron told us, look, we know old White Lightning's going to come up with something. He informed us of that amazing nickname that Eddie Radwanski had back in his playing days. Although, what did Eddie tell us when we asked him about it?
More like white dust.
No, there's always so much respect amongst the coaches in this conference. They understand. Eddie's been at it a while, 14th season at Clemson. Been an ACC Coach of the Year. Obviously, that College Cup experience a year ago, and Ben Waldrom's been by his dad's side through so much of his success. And of course, Randy Waldrom had 14 years at Notre Dame, 2 national championships there. He's coached professionally in the NWSL. He still coaches internationally with Nigeria. Oh, what a tremendous job they as a staff have done with this Pitt program. Caulfield directing as she goes, asking Olivia Lee to make her run. She does, right up to Fury, the back, rolling it over. Shapansky dancing on the ball. Caulfield, Spirit of Pitt winner this year. Recognized, remember the homecoming court, a little bit of everything. The Odin is going to get whistled for the foul. Certainly the Clemson player went flying.
Well, there's the challenge between Brathwaite and Abiodun. Looks like just a bit of an awkward fall right there as Brathwaite's coming down. Tough challenge, the way that she lands. Immediately doesn't look comfortable. Well, and how important Brathwaite is just to the midfield and the Clemson Tigers team in general, but this is a concern already for Eddie Radwanski's team, is just unexpected injuries.
Yeah, they've got to be thinking, come on, we cannot be taking any more. Already they had that game at Florida State, which we were actually supposed to call. We were supposed to have that for you here on ACC Network last Thursday, but with Hurricane Helene predicted to come through Tallahassee, that game was postponed. And Clemson actually wound up getting some of the hurricane damage, but they wound up going down to Tallahassee a couple of days later, played that match on Saturday. So they've had to deal with the hurricane, travel. They're shorthanded on their staff. Talked to Siri Mullenix before. She's doing everything from buying pregame food to picking up pilots. Everybody's wearing a lot of hats. And they're doing it without power in their homes, by the way. And of course, they had those two big injuries to Davis and Bornkamp. So the Tigers perhaps due for a little luck. Tobia, can she create her own luck here? Looking to go for gold. And Breach will just watch it sail high over the crossbar.
Into the match for the Panthers, number 9, Lucia Wells, replacing number 3.
Well, listen, this is a bit aggressive in terms of the chance, but if you're Tobia, probably a little bit of frustration just in the way of not getting a ton of clear opportunities on frame in this game, but also she's been a bright spot. She wants to go to goal. She wants to get her head up, see where Breach is. It's a bit too heavy with that opportunity.
Leading ball, but in the end, overcooked just a bit. One change there for Pitt. Lucia Wells, who started the match, come on to replace Gagne. And you are allowed a re-entry in the second half in college soccer, so expect that sideline to be a little more active in the second half. Typically is. Bruff. Tobia central now. Can the Tigers get it there? That's good defending from the Panthers instead. They win it away. Fury, one-on-one at the moment, does have some help coming up in the form of Shapansky in the middle, but can they stop Fury? Step over, shot in front of the goal, yes! She has been working and waiting for that one all night long.
Well, and a deserved goal for Fury. Always the focal point, always the outlet in the attack for this Pitt team, and draws so much attention to the way that she moves, creates space for herself, but also for teammates. We've seen her a number of times drop deep, take on 1v1. This time she's off to the races. No one closes her down, so she gets faced up. She can go at speed, and it's just a matter of her being patient, taking her chance, getting that little opportunity window to be able to slot this one home. But just look at the very end. She gets that separation and then just places it with the inside of her foot. Doesn't go for power, just knows that she has a clear look because there's no step, just that separation right there. All she has to do is place it with the side of her foot into the back of the net. Deserved goal tonight, 8th of the season. And that is the third goal that they were hunting to really put this game out of reach.
Samaya saying, you better fear me when I'm on the ball. And she proves it with the finish, goal number 8 to lead this Pitt Panther team.
Into the match for Clemson, number 13, Camilla Pickett, and number 11, Tatum Short. They replace number
Tatum Short
18, Maria Manuza.
and Cam Pickett back onto the field for the Clemson Tigers. Both starters in this match. Short is a player running for it right now, but Breach running too, well out of her goal to make the clearance. So what's the response after the goal? There's a reason they call these big 5 moments after a goal, after a stoppage. Both teams, how do they respond? Corner. Toby has really started to come alive in this second half for the Tigers. Fifth corner of the match coming up for Clemson. Asking for someone to get on it. There it is, the shot. The goal was there. Breach would not have been able to get to it, but Bonak couldn't turn it on target.
Yeah, unfortunate because she had put herself in a good position, and you know, we've said about set pieces, that is a great way to be able to get yourself back into the games. There's been some good delivery. They tried the ball on the ground, the previous one, and this time Bodak just almost slices through it as the pressure was coming, forces the shot to have to go quickly.
Brathwaite gets it to Pickett. Cam Pickett, younger sister of Kiki Pickett, now plays in the NWSL. That's a dangerous tackle. Fury knew it. She'll be lucky to get out of that without a card, honestly, coming from behind.
Yeah, there's the yellow card. Just knows it's a bit more of a dangerous tackle. No intent in it, as Fury's just trying to track back and stall the advancement of the play from the Clemson Tigers. But right there, and as she's going through, gets both of the legs. I love that reaction. Basically, whoops.
But it's a card and a foul nonetheless.
Yellow card issued to number 23, Samaya Fury.
First booking of the night, and Fury's gonna come off. Boyd back on in her place.
Number 26, Ava Boyd, replacing number 23, Samaya Fury.
Panthers taking the opportunity to make another change as well.
Now in the match for Clemson, number 17,
Holly Gomes. Oh, excuse me, no, that's Castenfeld coming in for Clemson. Saw her in the first half as well, getting the start in the match tonight. Abby-Oden. Mellenhorst out to Moon. Former track star in high school, had the ACL injury in 2022. Pickett, oh, he had to play that cleanly and was under pressure as she tried to do so. Wounds up conceding the corner. So Szczepanski will plan her attack from the corner as the changes keep coming for both teams. Bailey Wagenack in for Moon. Richard sophomore transfer from Mississippi State, Wagenack. And Szczepanski says, who wants it? There's one of those high-flying corners that she likes to serve up. Venus kind of shanked it, but it may work out
I
in
thought
her
she
favor.
was going to get her own.
I know. Just like she planned. The flick is too high.
Well, and unfortunately that has summed up this game because Minas in particular, but there's been white shirts getting to loose balls all game long. They're the first to get there, the first to get to the second balls, and that's really been the difference. And we have talked about, yes, there's been some struggles for this Clemson Tigers team in terms of injuries, losing some dominant players from last season. So it's been difficult for them to be able to pick up where they left off last year. But just the difference in a bit of the mentality in this game for Pitt Panthers playing at home. Determination to get goals, but also just get on the end of loose balls and make something of it. Minas' attempt right there after she mishits it, trying to get to it first, and almost does.
And look at Mayfield early, 3-4 games into the conference season, but this conference season flies by so fast, and you do have to start thinking about some postseason implications. This is important for a Pitt team that they were picked 8th in the ACC preseason poll, but their RPI is good. Top 15 in the country coming into this match tonight. Their record, good overall, 7-3-2. Just looking to pick up some more wins in conference play now. Boyd. Clemson trying to climb out of what is now a 3-goal deficit. Pittsburgh adding one to their tally through Samaya Fury in the 62nd minute. Deflected ball. Chance for a follow-up. Pickett with the left has it blocked. Another chance short. I mean, Clemson has gotten a couple of good looks like that and haven't been able to capitalize.
Well, and that's why that third goal was so important for the Pitt Panthers. Fury capitalizing on her opportunity because now they have a little bit of buffer because once again, Clemson's going to come down. They've been a bit more direct. They're trying to press a little bit higher up the field, and when Pitt can't break that first line, that's when Clemson has some of the better opportunities. They can win it back, get numbers around the 18-yard box. It's just that last attempt. We mentioned it early on in this game when they had the bulk of their possession. Just a little bit more composure in the final third.
Panthers all holding the line here, trying to stay onside. It goes to Shapansky. She's going to take that one-on-one every day. Pickett goes to recover. Shapansky takes the shot. And Lori, I mentioned Pitt picked 8th in the preseason in the ACC. The team picked 9th was Wake Forest. That team right now, who has already had some impressive results, that's a push in the back. They are now leading defending national champ Florida State 2-0. That 1-0, they just tacked on another one.
Yeah, and I was on that call a few weeks ago against Virginia where they won 3-0 at UVA, and it was a really complete performance. It's a solid team. Not necessarily any superstars, but everybody's working together on both sides of the ball, and I was extremely impressed. So not surprising to me in terms of what that Wake Forest team can do.
Wake the nation, baby. Demon Deacons are coming. Excited to see what they do with the remainder of this season. And the Deeks moving all the way up. Number 4 in the country. Well deserved. I mean, they have earned that. And, you know, there's something we've noticed, I feel like more this year perhaps than even in past years, is the extreme movement that is available to these teams.
Yep.
If you either are a highly ranked team, top 5, or you're playing one, you really have the opportunity to ascend in the rankings or drop right on out of them. I mean, Clemson started the year preseason top 5, that though because of their finish in the College Cup last year, now unranked. Push in the back. Abby Oden looks like she's headed for a yellow card now too. That's 2 against the Panthers tonight. 1 on Abby Oden and 1 on Fury not too long ago.
Yeah, it's a clear challenge, and Abby Oden, you can see, just immediately trying to get out of the way and not step. Abby Oden has some blood on her lip as well. The battle in the midfield, but she is the one that's called for the yellow card.
Just glad to see her getting a lot of minutes out there.
Absolutely.
Starting to get healthy again. Knows she's someone that can really help this Pitt Panther team.
Well, she'll take that yellow card. I mean, the commitment to, at this point in time in the game, you're up 3-0, less than 20 minutes to go, and you're still tracking back, doing whatever you can to slow the play is so important. It's going to be another heavy challenge. And a few moments ago, it was Bruff for the Clemson Tigers, slow to get up, and still seems to be moving a little bit gingerly. Good to see her still out in the field, because I wasn't sure she was going to stay on.
If you're Clemson right now, it's 3-0. You've taken some hits in every way possible. Injuries and off the field, and now down 3-0. We'll see what Pitt does here, but you know, what Clemson needs to get out of this final 20 could be important as Shapansky's going to work again. Abby Oden tracks it down. That's out for a corner. So as they set this up, Lori, I mean, what does Clemson look for from these final 19 minutes?
Well, one, you don't concede any more goals to Pitt in this game, so you just make sure that you're marked up individually, winning your battle, and collectively organizing each other and where to be to make sure that you don't give up another goal, and then do whatever you can to at least get one back in this game. Give yourself a little bit of confidence in the final third. Here's Bruff coming off. I mentioned her, slow to get up, and a bit of an awkward challenge that happened off our screen in the run of play.
Yeah, a lot of players in and out. Clemson in particular, Zeddy Radwanski trying some new combinations. That's going to be offside. Looking for something that can ignite a spark or at least bring some positive momentum to the Tigers here in these final few minutes. Abby Oden, you mentioned, had some blood. Now she's getting treated over on the sideline. We're now seeing this Pitt team in person, Lori. What do you think about the Panthers and their chances to contend? I mean, our ACC women's tournament remains the same. The men's tournament has expanded. Everybody gets to go to that one, but still just a limited number of teams as this ball put up into the box for the Panthers.
Well, one thing I liked about seeing this Pitt team in person this season is just how committed they are together. I mean, they lost some considerable star power in the attack as well from last season that made them so successful, but they've been able to bounce back. They feel like they have good depth. There's Minas is going to pick up, but they don't have, they're not shy. They'll get stuck in. We've seen Fury, Abby Oden, now Minas getting stuck in. They're up 3-0. They're still challenging. There's a little something extra in terms of their mentality that I really like from this team. And one thing that we haven't mentioned in this game, last year, they did at times play in a 3-back. So they still have that ability to show some versatility in the formation if that needs to be presented later on. But to bounce back from that West Coast trip, get the result here tonight. They've been tested against top teams in this conference already, and they'll be tested again. They should utilize this as something to build off of with good momentum and confidence going further into conference play.
Top 6 teams, by the way, to finish out that thought, are who makes it to the ACC tournament. You often see in this league more than that go to the NCAA tournament, and this match is getting a little bit out of hand. I think our referee completely aware of that. She is handing out the card, so she's doing what she needs to do, Nicole Green, to keep things calm and recognizing both teams. I mean, Clemson certainly has some frustration. Pitt really no excuse.
Well, much like we talked about Pitt, though, this is, there's a clear foul there on Short. I mean, she just grabs, pulls down Wells, but that's what you want from Short. You want her also to be working back, the little intangibles, knowing that you need to track, stall their attack as well, and does well, and now allows the Tigers to be able to get back. And what did we mention? Don't concede. So now make sure you do what it takes to defend this set piece.
We've seen these two players over the ball for all the set piece opportunities, at least not from the corner flag for the Panthers in the match. Mellenhorst yet to take one. It's been Szczepanski. It will be that way again. Szczepanski bounces, and Reason gambles a little bit, coming out as hot as she did, not knowing exactly how that ball was going to bounce, but she gets it on the rise. Short escapes, gets the ball out wide, and that's where it ends. Ellie Breach mentioned this in the first half, but sitting on 22 career wins. She will stand alone at #1 at Pitt in terms of career victories if she gets number 23 tonight. Looks like she's headed that way. Olivia Lee can't hang on to it for the Panthers. She'll get a chance to try again. Diagonal ball from Szczepanski. Still a chance to be had. A trip that may be a penalty. Certainly seemed like it could have been.
Oh, I think it's definitely, I think it's definitely a penalty kick. It almost maybe was screened.
I think she's going to go look at it.
Yeah,
which you're allowed to do.
Yeah, this is definitely a penalty kick. Mellenhorst does really well. The first touch is heavy, then she's having to readjust to get another. There's the little flick initially from the original heavy touch, invites the pressure from the defender, but then just the last second, it's Duff that comes over, commits the foul. This might be an even better angle. Right there's the touch. Mellenhorst does so well, and then there's the trailing leg or the dominant leg from Duff as she comes through.
You know, it's not as clear cut as I thought it was when we saw it in real time, but Mellenhorst certainly thinks so. So with expanded video review, I don't actually, but when you say the trailing leg, sometimes I do miss that. So
and then I corrected myself with the front leg. The front leg comes through.
I think I need another look.
I think so too. Right there. And as you see, right there, catch it. I mean, it's a major contact. Do not tell me you need to see that again. That is
I need the other angle, okay, Lori? Because no, the low angle looked like there actually wasn't contact and she came down awkwardly. I'm just saying.
To me, this is a clear penalty kick.
Well, I tend to defer to you, but let's see what the referee comes back with. No penalty, she says.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I agree with Mellenhorst. Look at her. Look at her face, ref. We won't say what else she's saying, but
I think you can.
I think Randy's face as well. It's like, wait, what a sec? What?
Well, now because of the way that went down, I will remind you that it was not called a penalty on the field. That means that even though Nicole Green decided to go look at it afterwards, she did not call a penalty originally. That means she had to see enough. There was indisputable video evidence.
I don't see how you don't.
I had a doubt. Maybe she did too, to overturn it.
Absolutely not. I did not understand how that's not called a penalty kick. She's clearly brought down.
Into the match for the Panthers, #3, McGowan replacing number 15.
So the Panthers perhaps escaping without having to face the penalty. Pitt is 1 for 1 on the season so far from the spot. Samaya Fury did the honors in a match where she had a brace against Louisville in their ACC opener this season. reminder, more women's soccer coming up after this one tonight. Virginia Tech and Miami. We'll have that one for you here right after this one is over on ACCN.
Into the match, number 8, Jennifer David, and number 19,
Anna Ryden coming on. It's just her third appearance of the season. She's only played 33 minutes for the Tigers thus far. A freshman out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, playing for the Tigers. So Eddie Radwanski really is digging deep around the bench. There's no love lost between these two teams, that's for sure. But it will be the Panthers loving the result if it stays the way it is. Clemson trying to cut into that 3-goal lead. And while Clemson, Lori, has had moments where they've certainly felt more dangerous in the second half, it's pretty incredible. They have yet still to register a shot on goal in this match.
Well, in the few attempts that they've had in the second half, to your point, where they have been more dangerous, and a lot of it is they created from their turnovers higher up the field, had players in good positions. Just the shots nowhere near, sliced through. A few different opportunities, whether it's off set pieces as well.
This is the first game of a 3-game stretch where, at least judging by results thus far in the conference, Pitt can really start to make some noise. They've got Clemson tonight, obviously in control. Their first 3-goal lead in an ACC game since last year. Some of the contact continuing here on the field, but then they've got Syracuse and then at Miami. Both of those programs coming into the night winless thus far in conference play. Going back the other direction now. Tomorrow's ACC PM with Mark Packer will come to you from Atlanta as the prep for Duke, Georgia Tech. That begins at 4 Eastern. That game right here in ACCN Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, you know, Pack and the crew will have you covered, getting you ready for that one all day long on Saturday. Szczepanski unable to keep it at her feet. Usually she is masterful at that, and now wins it back. Still fighting hard here toward the end of the match, Szczepanski. Both players getting an opportunity to go to their benches, give some more opportunities. Riley Keeley on now for Pitt. The freshman for this Panther team. And for them, just about making the most of your minutes when you get them. Their starters have given some of the reserves an opportunity, if you're Pitt, to get out there and get some valuable ACC minutes in conference play. And there's no faulting the effort of this Clemson team tonight. From every player, they just have been given their all. a lot of times it's just felt like, Lori, they've had to do so much chasing and reacting and trying to catch up to whatever Pitt is doing.
Well, and a lot of that has to do with credit to Pitt and the way that they've attacked. You got players that have the freedom to float. Szczepanski being the obvious one. She'll start out wide left, but they allow her to drift inside. She wants the ball at her feet. You get Fury drawing the attention of the two center backs. That stretched this Clemson Tigers team. So they haven't really been able to establish a position that they feel comfortable in defensively. And then therefore it's been difficult for them to regain possession. So they have had to chase. But a lot of that has to do with Pitt on the front foot from the opening whistle, getting early goals and then not looking back. So for Clemson, a couple tough losses as of late, 0-4. It looks like they're gonna finish this after this game in the conference. Just gonna be about them continuing to get their heads down, continuing to fight, get one win that can hopefully build a little bit more momentum for them in this season.
Tigers, by the way, will go back home. They've got Boston College next up on Sunday, and then they host Miami. That's their next few matches on the docket. Szczepanski, maybe an offside situation if Pitt even gets there, which they don't. Brathwaite willing to roll the dice, get forward a bit more, short, head over heels, advantage allowed. Tigers still in control in the box. Brathwaite heading in, finds the corner of the net. Well deserved for the Clemson Tigers in the dying minutes here as Christian Brathwaite picks up her third of the season.
Well, Brathwaite has been such a handful in the midfield when she's on the ball, driving out. She's one of the ones that created an early opportunity to give a couple different opportunities for Clemson early on in the second half. And here she goes again. And this is where you want her, higher up the field, because look, immediately she's not afraid to take players on, get to the end line, gets it on her right foot, and then says, okay, I'll go myself, because some of the angles were shut down right here, no one to play to, just sees a little window, puts it away, and exactly what we were talking about. Don't concede, get one back to give yourself a little confidence, but that's a great finish. Just plays it through the legs of Breach, has nowhere to go, can't make the save. Breach made herself big as possible, but it's an excellent finish from Brathwaite and deserved goal for the Clemson Tigers.
Clemson scoring on their first shot on goal of the entire match. I agree. I like seeing Brathwaite get in more advanced positions on the field. I know that she's had to move around. She's had to play more defensive at times, just with a lot of the departures in terms of graduation from last year with the Tigers and injuries. She's dangerous. Add something to that attack that I think they need.
It looks like it's Keeley just trying to sneak through for Pitt. Couldn't get enough on it, but you know, that's where the challenge of injuries, unexpected injuries. There's Keeley again. Few good opportunities back to back. But this is the challenge, though, just to finish that thought, Jen, for the Clemson Tigers, having to rotate players around. I mean, if you still have Danny Davis, you have Megan Bornkamp in the starting lineup, then maybe Brathwaite can take more risks and get forward or play higher up the field initially, because you have pieces to your starting lineup that allow you to make those types of changes. And now you need Brathwaite to help defensively keep the glue in the connections in the midfield.
Well, Pitt maybe not done here. Some of the reserves making some noise. They get another goal to add to the tally. Szczepanski working so hard all night for her team. Adds a goal to her name. 6th of the season for Sarah Szczepanski.
Well, because there's been so much chasing for the Clemson Tigers. You can see the back line starts to get really out of sorts. Tired legs, tired minds. There's just a little flick from Keeley. She's involved in the last 3 plays. And then for Szczepanski, never going to miss. just able to cut the defender. There's the first touch. You can see right there, it's just too easy defensively, not taking anything away from that finish, because what a beautiful finish that is from Szczepanski, just bending it in to the far post. It does look like Reeson maybe gets a little touch at the end. That's the 6th of the year for Szczepanski, and really puts the dagger in this game in favor of Pitt.
Most goals scored in conference play this season for the Panthers. They opened ACC play with a 3-1 victory against Louisville. Now putting 4 on the board. I don't think Szczepanski appreciated giving up that shutout, conceding on the other end. She comes down and scores less than a minute later. Brathwaite had Clemson's only shot on goal, put it in the back of the goal.
Well, one of the things that you asked Eddie Radwanski at the beginning of this game was just about Brathwaite in particular, and just her ability to pick and choose, understand the rhythm of the game, when to get forward, when just to hold her ground and not take risks out of the midfield. Well, certainly has shown her ability to understand, okay, we need to try to get some more goals, and now's the time. We were already down 4, so, or down 4 goals in total.
Yeah, it frees her up a little bit,
Yep.
right? She can relieve herself of some of those defensive responsibilities. However, then you might look and say, well, also conceded again less than a minute later when they were trying to be more aggressive. But I mean, that's the chances you have to take at this point in a match.
And I think it's the chances that you can afford to take, because you know it's going to be a tall mountain to climb to try to get yourself back in this game. So why not try a few things? And maybe this is something they can build off of. Really, the realization, hey, we can play Brathwaite higher up the field. What do the pieces behind her look like? Because maybe that's a more dangerous option for us in the attack.
Pitt Panthers looking to pick up their first win in this series against the Clemson Tigers, 0-8-1 all-time. Szczepanski did her part to contribute not only to the scoreline, but really to the entire style of play for the Panthers tonight. And helping to Pitt to find some goals where traditionally against Clemson, they've struggled to do that. They've been shut out 6 times in the series. 4 matches decided by 1 goal. They came in with a record of 0-8-1 all time against the Tigers. Feel fairly confident they're going to be able to add that 1 in the first victory against Clemson tonight. Short. Well, Clemson has been working it down that far side for a lot of the second half, whether it's been Tobia over there or Short or Brathwaite finding it and cutting in. They'll take the corner here. Their 4th of the second half, 6th of the match. Clemson pushing everybody into the area. Breach with the punch, follow up from Short. Pickett. Brathwaite. Throw for the Tigers. Just over 3 minutes to go in this one. Lori, what's impressed you most with Pitt's performance tonight?
I think both sides of the ball. Still working, putting in the tackles, times earning yellow cards. And because they are tracking back, they're doing whatever it takes to not give Clemson quality chances. And then on the other side, taking their chances, because that was a big talking point coming in. They create them, but they haven't really executed at the level they need to, and they have tonight. And everybody's been involved in that front line, or front 4 if you add Mellenhorst as well, and Abiodun at times. So 5 have really shown their creativity, their ability to cause problems for the opposition's back line. We saw that tonight.
And it's a Pitt team still evolving, a different caliber style of player, perhaps, than what they had last year when they had the likes of Amanda West and Landy Mertz and had the highest scoring season of all time. So maybe slightly different player profile, and they're getting used to how to take advantages of the strengths of these players that they have. Can attack in, as you said, a couple of different ways. Another corner called for by the keeper. She takes a hit and goes down, Ellie Breach. Junior goalkeeper, Pennsylvania native out of Mechanicsburg. Staring down the top spot in terms of goalkeeper wins in Pitt Panther history. It'll be number 23 for her in her career tonight. Well, that's a pretty easy call. Can't climb the ladder and use the opposing player as the ladder. Final minute on the clock now. We'll send you out to Miami for our next game. Soon as this one concludes. Pitt maybe not done. Another shot, bends beautifully, but not quite under the crossbar. Love the effort though from Ava Boyd. No exclamation point to add on, but a fine performance nonetheless for the Panthers tonight.
Yeah, really quality, convincing performance. They'll be happy to see the celebrations, what that means for this Pitt Panthers team.
A big 3 points. They know at second ACC win on the season. They improve to 2-2-1 and pick up their first ever victory over the Clemson.